Alright, so tonight what I'm doing before I go to bed is I am aligning the wings on this radial arm saw. And the way I do that is I rotate it around after I've removed the table and I align it. Focus, you piece of shit. Alright. If we can align, there we go. Alright, that's about to be good enough, damn it. Anyways, I align it over their wing, and I use a piece of material that is of a known thickness, which this is. This piece of brass I machined it while I was in school, and it's 100,000 thick. Pretty much spot on it. Anyways, I measure it between the spindle and this piece of material. And there's some flex to this, so I just kind of make it to where I can easily push it in and out. Like so. And that does pretty good. I measure in at least 2 or 3 spots. Each one of these little pieces of this mark here and this mark here represent spots that I've measured. Now, because this is my reference point, I can measure that other side here. And as long as it's pretty damn close to that, the table will be level compared to the post. So that's how I'm going to level this here. And I'm going to try to keep my measurements pretty much straight up across from each other. And so I've used a reference area here on the arms themselves. It's about right here on this one to try and get them pretty damn close. And something that I will do to prevent them from coming loose in the future is I will put Loctite on the bolts themselves to help prevent them from vibrating loose in the future. That will go a long way towards increasing the accuracy of this saw. Why is that important? Well, that's important because these saws are dangerous. And part of the reason that they're dangerous is if you do not take the time to set them up properly, and moving them, dragging them across the floor, using them a lot will knock them out of being accurate. The saw blade will bind in the slot. So if it was mounted this way and you were pulling it back and forth, eventually the saw will work its way out and you'll be pulling it back and forth still along that same spot, but the blade will be pulled diagonally. And that can cause kickback. In this saw, since you're pulling it to you and cutting to you, and the blade is spinning with that, if it kicks back and pulls to you, if you're in the way, you're going to lose a finger. So that's why it's important to set the saw up properly. And I printed myself out the original owner's manual. I'm making sure that I know how to adjust the guard, and I need to get a proper blade for it. Here's the thing. These blades are not right. None of the blades that I have are. What I'm looking for is a blade with a negative rake. And a negative rake, piece of paper. Alright, so this is a positive rake. So here's the axis, okay? The blades hook into the axis, and that is positive. Okay, well, I can't have that on this saw because that's much more likely to grab. So what we need is a negative rake. So if this is the axis, we need a blade that tilts away from that axis slightly, and that's where its cutting action is. And so that's pretty important on this saw. And as you can see, none of these blades are right. This is the closest to being right, but it's actually not that far off from this blade. So I'll have to get a proper blade, but for now, due to the operations that I'll be doing on this saw, which is for the most part just ripping and cross-cutting, nothing fancy, no bevels, nothing like that, I should be able to do it safely with the blade that I have. However, I need to make it a priority to get a proper blade so that this saw will be correct. So what was wrong with this saw? Well, missing one indicator right here, and this post was out of alignment and the saw was out of alignment this way, so it was actually coming across at an angle, pulling across, and that would make the slot that it cut about 3 times as wide as the blade is, which means it was off a lot, and that's quite a dangerous operation. Another thing that's wrong with this saw is this handle. It goes on here, but it's missing its lever, so I actually have to crank it by hand. But since I'm far too lazy for that, I just put a pull bar onto it. So back to my measuring.